What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and some potentials of how high Rezolve could go in the foreseeable future. So I want to go over all of that, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve did go down during the pre-market on Friday to a low of around 265. Luckily enough, it did recover with the broader market, but looking forward into this upcoming week, we don't really have too much in data. So starting off on Monday, we have a lot of Fed speakers. In fact, throughout the whole week, we have a lot of Fed speakers. So that in among itself could cause a lot of volatility. Tuesday, ADP employment, the weekly. And so last week, it did come in at negative 11,000. That really did spook the broader market. So we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. Wednesday, we have the FOMC minutes. Normally, it's not that big of a deal, but last time we did have them, it actually showed a lot of members how they wanted to cut rates numerous times. So that actually did motivate the broader market and kind of things pushed higher from there. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. So that is Wednesday. Thursday, we have existing home sales. So that might move some sectors, nothing really crazy important to Rezolve. And even aside from that, the reason why I'm bringing up a lot of these data points is because Rezolve gets moved through algorithmic trading. So for right now and for face value, Rezolve doesn't really do that much for American business. So that's something as well I was actually very excited about with them announcing the new executive, Elizabeth, because based on her experience and her history, she can actually enter into the American market. And from what Rezolve has really portrayed her as, she has a lot of good connections. So that might be something coming down the pipeline. But aside from that, Friday, we have, again, a lot of Fed speakers, Michigan consumer sentiment as well. So that forecast is 50.3. Companies unveiling the earnings. We have a lot of big names. So we have NVIDIA. So that probably is going to be the massive one for the broader market. And I think even last time, like their earnings did fall on FOMC minutes, and as well a couple of other data points. So Wednesday is going to be a fun day, ultimately. We also have a couple of other ones that I'm going to be really looking at, such as Zim, Webull, so a lot of ones out there. But essentially nothing that will really move Rezolve. As far as news, so this is where I wanted to kind of talk about how high I see things going. Realistically, of course. And so for those of you that watch a lot of my videos, you know I'm not here to BS you. I'm not here to pump you up, nor am I here to bring you down. But I like to bring up value. I like to consider myself more of a value hybrid investor. So even when this was down like $1 and change back in April, that's where I actually started to do Rezolve videos, because I said, hey, you know what? This is at a crazy, crazy discount. It was on my watch list prior to that, but when it got to $1, I think exactly $1.15, I did a video, my very first one. I said, hey, you know what? This one has a lot of good upside. I kind of started a Patreon a couple of months after that, brand new. And yeah, even at that stage, I signaled it as a buy, put a $6 price target, and it worked out perfectly. Since then, clearly, I think just investors have not really liked what they've heard from Rezolve. And yes, the company gave amazing future guidance, but people are just really wanting a little bit more. And I think it's as simple as investors seeing the product in action. So I wanted to go over realistically how I see things going based on what Rezolve has told us. So the actual revenue officer most recently did state right here. So on November the 12th, this was actually surprisingly big news, and it didn't really move Rezolve at all. But the CRO, so Crispin, did say that by looks like the year end 2026, they expect 500 million in ARR. That is huge. And I feel, generally speaking, that puts potentially Rezolve at a discount play. And so I did post this on my Stacked. So again, I know I have a lot of different things. I have a Patreon as well as a Stacked. Just started Stacked roughly around give or take about a week ago. So if you are wanting good swing trades, I post them on there. Pop over there and take a look. I did put it at $10 a month, and I put out massive bangers. Despite what's been happening in the broader market, A lot of them have been on point, but nonetheless, I actually just posted this, so I'll kind of share this with you since I'm doing a Rezolve video. But this is kind of what you can kind of expect in most cases as well. I do put out buy signals, but in theory, assuming 500 mil ARR for end of 2026. So normally, on a side note, tech and AI plays have a higher multiple, but assuming technically we have a 2x, so that's times by the multiple based on the revenue, that would put essentially, assuming Rezolve doesn't significantly dilute, keeping the actual outstanding share count the same or close to it, that would put the stock price at 332. So that's kind of where we are at. So ultimately, you wouldn't really see much upside. But again, like I said, tech and AI plays have more of a higher multiple, in some cases even higher than 12. So essentially, even if you use 12x as a multiple, that would put technically the market cap at 6 billion and the stock price at 1993. So huge upside. But again, I feel that the company's not really doing themselves any favors. They're not really helping shareholders. All they have to do is a quick interview, quick video, podcast, or whatever. Just explain the product and show it, demonstrate it. That is it. And I feel like that would satisfy a lot of investors and possibly even institutions and get them to buy. So in general, it is arguably at a pretty good discount right now. But like I said, I think there's just a lot of grayness as far as their integration into the American market. But I wanted to kind of share this with you. So yeah, if you do have a long-term mentality, don't worry about the short-term noise, and you assume 500 ARR is achievable, then you can make some pretty good money based on that. Even technically with a 8x, that'd put it at 1328. So let me know your thoughts on that. I just wanted to kind of quickly pop on and share that with you. But going into this upcoming week, 4.83% of the free float's being shorted. Shorts surprisingly have taken advantage over the last couple of trading days, and they clearly see value, right? Because why else would they be returning? They see the pullback very unjustified. So 7.51 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average 8.6%. So that's an annual rate, not a daily rate. And then short score is 54.9. I'm just bringing this up more for analysis. Definitely, I don't really see Rezolve being a squeeze play, nor has it ever been a squeeze play. But still, shorts have been starting to return, so it's fair to assume that most likely will carry forward into this upcoming week. Aside from that, from a bull standpoint, there's not really much options going on. So you see a consensus for it to be above 350. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 3. That's looking forward into this upcoming week. Aside from that, though, with it at 295, looking at the 4 hour, so more kind of tight knit, it is below everything. And so even looking at the classic, so 230 is going to be a strong support. 311 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So ideally, best case scenario, early on in the week, you see it kind of close above that. Then 342, 361, and then 392 as the next strong kind of points to really watch for. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Aside from all of that fun stuff, quickly popping over here onto the actual chart. This is SoFi, so you guys don't need this right here. So pulling up Rezolve. I'd like to say that this chart looks good, but it doesn't at all. So right now it is below a lot of the key pivotal moving averages that I like to look at. Actually, they're below all of them. So it is below that 200 right now. So that's going to be at least something to watch for in the short term. So that's right now sitting at 307. And that 10-day moving average right here, which has been largely struggling with ever since October the 9th. So ever since they did announce that whole kind of lawsuit. And I feel like that really scared to the company itself because they were doing a lot of PR blitzes up until then. So I feel that probably did scare the crap out of them in reality. But nonetheless, that is also going to be something to really watch for this week for it to really get above, to show some momentum building. Because as much as a lot of people see a lot of upside with Rezolve, and I've seen actually a couple more YouTubers actually starting to cover Rezolve, still big mainstream media doesn't really care all that much about it still. So it is rather unfortunate, and they've been giving phenomenal future guidance, but clearly I guess institutions don't really believe it is achievable. But nonetheless, looking at the market position, you see a couple willing buyers, but definitely it is a seller's market as of right now. So a lot of willing sellers. So it's not necessarily the best, but we've seen a lot of momentum plays even when this started to really heat up. Like, it just went up very, very fast. So I wouldn't really exactly count Rezolve down and out, but as I've mentioned, I feel like the company just isn't really doing themselves any favors or making it relatively difficult. So I think at the end of the day, Rezolve does have a lot of good upside potential. It's just, you have to sometimes just put your head down, ignore the noise, and just think long term. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Where do you see things going for this upcoming week? In my opinion, I do feel like the broader market is going to have some sort of recovery. So most likely in Rezolve's case, it will close between this S1 and this S2. Nothing significant, no squeezes, but realistically, I feel that it could be that's somewhat achievable. So let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, as I've mentioned, highly recommend a lot of individuals to pop over here. So if you're looking for a lot of good swing trades, or there's a lot of other tiers, if you want to see the transactions I'm doing, pop over there. So yeah, definitely worthwhile to pop over and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.